What's up, Tiger Gang? It's JT here from the Poco Moonshine family. Today I got David from DC Learning to Live. How you doing, David?
I'm doing great, mate. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Kerry just put together this petition that he wants a million signatures on, and luckily we got some help from Adam from Carnivore today. He set up the website. I'm gonna post the website right now. Copy. I'm gonna post this in the comment section here. Keep that there. And I want to support the movement. I've had a lot of people in my family that have had cancer. My sister was one of those at a young age. She went through the Make a Wish program. She had ovarian cancer, kind of like Diane did. Um,
Yeah.
but let's start out. Let's share a little bit of your story first before we start talking about some of the changes we can make out here. What type of cancer do you have, David?
I have follicular lymphoma. Now, lymphoma, there are Hodgkin's lymphomas and non-Hodgkin's lymphomas. Lymphomas start in the lymphatic system. So these are, things that, I think that the way you should start treating it is start to heal the lymphatic system. Um, it's a non-curable, non-operative blood cancer. It's something that they is a reoccurring type of cancer. So when you treat it into a remission period, that's the best you can hope for is a remission period, and hopefully that will give you some time. But the more you treat it, the shorter the remission periods become, and the more often you need to treat it. And because you have to treat it more, the cancer itself actually evolves and becomes more aggressive.
Mm.
So, like I myself, I was stage 4 in 2012, and again in 2014. I didn't actually get a remission period. I was on treatment that whole time. I basically did 3 years solid chemotherapy that culminated in numerous occasions where it almost killed me, and I had problems. I stopped breathing a number of times, and basically left me bedridden. All total, between treatment and after the stem cell transplant, I was bedridden pretty much for 5.5 years
Oh.
total. Yeah.
And how are you feeling today? How do you feel physically, even though you've got the cancer still?
No, I'm great. Well, when I started this journey, like when I started out, like I had a football-sized tumor. All my lymph nodes, because it was in my lymphatic system, all my lymph nodes right throughout my body were malignant tumors as well. So, I mean, it was just everywhere. And it's blood cancer, so it's through your bone marrow, everywhere, your lymphatic system. So, um, now, I mean, I'm on zero medications. The largest tumor I had is nothing but scar tissue. I'm back in the gym. I'm hitting it pretty hard some days, and everything's going really well. I just did a trip to Japan, and I didn't have any problems with colds, flus, because over the last 12 years, with almost zero immune system, any kind of infection would last me months and months. So I'm doing absolutely brilliant now.
It's amazing that having cancer can almost get you to a point in your life where you're healthier than ever.
Yeah,
Jeff was
yeah,
saying the same thing. He's never been this healthy in his life since he's gotten cancer.
yeah. Well, I was always very fit and healthy when I was younger, and I did a lot of sports. I used to do triathlon, I used to do marathons, did a lot of resistance training. But it's I was living on pretty much what the standard education of diet should be, and it's sort of lean meats and your macros and things like that. So it's a completely different feeling, you know. I wish I'd known about this, back then. I wish I'd done more research into that back then, but it is what it is, and I'm grateful. I am actually grateful for the journey that I have been on, because it's really, although it was very tough, and psychologically and like emotionally and obviously physically, it it's made me who I am. So it's it's going great now anyway. So
How did you feel physically when you weren't? Were you doing carnivore diet the whole time you've had cancer, or was there
no,
a part that you've had cancer with and you weren't on carnivore?
no. While I was going through treatment, I was pretty much just
Standard diet.
standard diet,
How do you feel now
healthy.
versus then? And like, were your was the chemo treatments easier to go through on your standard diet, or did it help getting on carnivore to get through your chemo treatments?
Yeah, well, I haven't had chemo treatments while on carnivore. I haven't needed it. I've been in
Mm.
remission now for 9 years on a low carb diet. Um, while I was being treated, though, I had to do a lot of fasting, because honestly, you just on very heavy dose chemotherapy, you just can't eat anyway. Um, there's a lot of pain involved when you try to eat. There's a lot of sores. The side effects from things like R-CHOP. R-CHOP has three different, like in one sitting, you'll do three different types of chemotherapy, three bags of chemotherapy in one sitting, in one day. Um, and it burns you. It literally burns you. The the bone pain, sores, mouth sores, all sorts of things, ulcers in the stomach, and basically a lot of violent vomiting as well. So the first 2 weeks of each treatment was pretty much fasting, and because you just couldn't keep anything down anyway. I mean, I did try to get things down. I had like protein shakes with, and I ate a lot of butter, fats and things like that, because vomiting on an empty stomach is far more painful. But it took, you know, I wasn't on a carnivore diet, but I was on a low carb diet, and I was pretty much everything I ate was cooked at home, which is another good thing, because I stopped processed foods. But the problem was through treatment as well. The hospital's nutrition advice is just terrible. You get one of the side effects of chemotherapy, for example, is severe IBS, and they put you on laxatives and a high fiber diet, which is just the opposite of what you need, um, which is also very high in carbohydrates. They put you on a lot of sugar. While you're actually being treated, they'll give you cookies, cakes, jellos, and all sorts of ice cream and sugar drinks, soda drinks.
Stuff that feeds
Especially,
cancer.
yeah, that's right. All the sugary stuff that actually feeds the cancer. You know,
Mm.
like they pretty much force feed you ginger ale, because the ginger is a natural sort of anti-nausea sort of food that try and settle your stomach. But of course, it's full of sugar. The advice was pretty much I could eat anything I want because it didn't matter. Um,
It sure as hell
and
does, man. Right?
yeah, yeah, damn right it does.
Mm.
Some of it was even worse. Some of it was you know if you eat junk food. So like if you go to you know Burger King or something like that, like Macca's, or it doesn't have enough nutrients in it to feed cancer. So you can survive on that. That help. Just utter nonsense advice from these supposed so-called health experts. Um, Of course, none of that made sense. So we just did our own thing. We never eat out. Um, but there's also the medications you have to fight. It's not just the bad dietary advice from these so-called experts, but it's also the medications. Chemotherapy literally breaks down everything in your body. I mean, every cell, right? Every fiber. And while they're doing that, they're feeding you not just the junk food, but uh, these steroid based medications. And steroids um, boost blood sugar. Okay, so again, it's cancer as a metabolic disease feeds on um, sugar.
Hmm.
So like all of these medications and foods are actually feeding the disease while you are breaking down your body, and they expect you to survive on that. Like it just doesn't work. I've seen so many people go through this who were not as strong. I was very fit and strong when I was going through this, but I've seen children and older people that just could not handle it. Um, the biggest thing for me now, um, I mean, I went through R-CHOP and then I went through radiation, and then I went on a 2-year course of more chemotherapy, what they call maintenance rituximab. It was like a treatment for every 2 months to try and prolong a remission. But I only got 1 year through that remission, and then I was back to stage 4 again. So I'd basically done 2 years solid chemotherapy, and I was back to square one.
Hmm.
So then it just got you know 100 times worse. And another then I went into a clinical trial which didn't work, almost killed me a few times, and then a stem cell transplant which pretty much did. I stopped breathing in numerous times, and I lost over 40 kilos, about 100 pounds in a week, or just about 2 weeks, because I
Wow.
couldn't eat. I'd lost so much weight. It literally cooked me. I had an infection, and then I just could not move for a couple of years after that, 2.5 years. So it wasn't until after that, though, that I had massive cravings for meat. Um, I wasn't really in the state of mind of treating it or trying to beat it. Really, at the time, it was kind of more like I just didn't want any more of this. I didn't want to keep going through this. They keep telling me that I had to. The rest of my life will be pretty much the same and will get worse. It'll be just require more treatments, um, which you can't keep doing that. Your body just cannot handle that. It was already broken, and I pretty much almost didn't survive that anyway. So it was, it took a long time to, I think, heal more emotionally as well. The pain you forget pretty quickly when your body starts to heal. But sometimes physical pain is easier to deal with than emotional pain. um, the biggest problem I had was getting onto and getting motivated to try and fight it again. That was There was a time where I just didn't care. I didn't want to go through any more of that, so I was quite happy to just not wake up.
Hmm.
Um, and like it got so bad where through the transplant I did stop breathing a number of times, and for years afterwards my wife would wake me up if I was sleeping for had a nap or anything like that. She'd wake me up every now and then just to check if I was still breathing. Um, so it took me quite a long time to get past that. But what through that time, I didn't notice that I was actually healing because I was eating quite a lot of meat because that's what I was craving. I had to rebuild my body. I was so small, so frail that my body just was, it was craving the fats and the proteins to try and rebuild. And it wasn't until much later that I put it all together, and I went to pretty much what I call a caveman sort of style diet. It was a low carb diet, but it still had carbs in it, and that sort of managed it for 9 years. Which I felt was doing great actually, because initially I didn't even have a remission period. In a 3 year period, I stage 4 twice to a 9 year remission is remarkable anyway. But then when I found carnivore and I decided to give it a go, the difference has been remarkable as well. Even just between the two, I was already down to, after going from bags and bags of medications, um, I was already down to one, just for reflux. Um, I was managing other side effects like IBS and that with fermented vegetables like sauerkraut. But since going carnivore, and it has really boosted my immune system. My lymphatic system is much cleaner. It's much stronger. Even on through my 9 year remission on keto, like a keto caveman sort of diet, um, infections like colds and flus would last me quite some time. Sometimes, up to 6 months.
Hmm.
Um, this was largely due to after my transplant, about not too long afterwards, they also gave me other treatments such these childhood sort of vaccines that try and boost your immune system, which just crashed it. It just destroyed my immune system again. So it took a long time to get past all that, but going carnivore, I've noticed that clean fats, clean proteins, animal proteins, animal fats. My lymphatic system is a lot stronger. My blood markers have jumped so much. Before, even though I was in remission, my markers were all very, very low and much lower than the normal healthy range, about 20 points or so on average. Since being carnivore, I'm just like 200 days in now. My blood markers are already inside a normal healthy range, like right across the board. So the difference has just been absolutely miraculous, actually. Yeah,
And it's a healing diet. It really is. That's
it
why I
is.
love the name of this documentary, Healing Humanity. The
Yeah,
This combination of the carnivore diet with metabolic therapy, it's a game changer. It really is. I'm telling
it
you,
is.
if because the
Yeah,
only things that can grow are the things we give energy to.
yeah,
And if everything is energy, including cancer, we have to figure out how to not feed that cancer that energy and to just let it die off from a
exactly.
lack of nutrients, lack of being fed.
Yeah,
And if our diet can do that, I mean, this diet can even, like, imagine a woman who's pregnant and she's eating carnivore diet, raising that child, and then she breastfeeds him and he's in ketosis and then he's on a carnivore diet. I mean, that kid's probably going to be at least 5 inches taller than all his friends, 50
yeah,
pounds heavier, and probably a lot faster. I mean,
yeah. It'd be
it's amazing.
superhuman. Yeah,
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 they're going to be like mini superheroes. And
yeah,
I feel like you're one of those superheroes I've been talking to lately, who's, you've had somebody tell you how long you're gonna live, and oh, this is that and this is terminal, and like, who are they to tell someone how long they're gonna live, and
yeah.
whether they're gonna fight or not, or fight or give up, or that they can't make the decisions for you. But I would you suggest people add in the carnivore diet as a tool to help fight cancer?
100%. Um, Whether you choose to do chemotherapy or not, your body needs to rebuild, and your Um, in particularly your lymphatic system, you know, it is so important. It is key, and movement, exercise, because our lymphatic system doesn't have a pump of its own. It requires the muscle contraction to push that lymph fluid around your body. But it's not going to matter if you, even though you might exercise, it's not going to matter if you feed it the wrong diet. You know, there's so much, seed oils and these so-called vegetable oils and things like that in processed foods and pretty much everything else that we eat, that your body is not just being poisoned. It's not. It's also not getting the nutrients it needs to recover. So cleaning out all that junk food, all the processed foods, and it doesn't matter whether you think it's whether there's not much difference between it, like a protein bar and like a hamburger. There's still those seed oils, especially soy and things like that. So you may think you're healthy just by going to the health food aisle in the grocery store and pick up a protein bar, but you're not. And these are things that we need to change. So you need to feed your body, your lymphatic system, healthy proteins and fats, and you're only going to get that from meat, animal products. So that would be the first thing now I would advise anyone do. I'm not going to tell them to stop, not take treatment or anything like that, because that's completely up to you. But get your nutrition right, before anything. So, and I don't even eat out. I still don't eat out now. Every meal is cooked at home. It's just not
Probably
worth it.
healthier and cheaper in the long run.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, depends on where you are as well. Like when I was in Japan, I'd eat out all the time. Like I just did a trip to Japan, and we went to barbecue restaurants. I ate just one meal a day. It's all you can eat buffet meat, and it's beautiful meat, just great. So I can eat just one meal a day, fill up, and that's it. But in Australia, I always cook at home. It's much cheaper for one, but it's much cleaner. Everything's cooked in lard, and all I eat is meat, eggs, and that's it. And water.
Good,
And
clean food, right? Good, clean
good
food.
clean food.
Yeah, it's important. You don't really see, I'm sure animals in the wild probably do get cancer once in a blue moon, but for the majority of the part, you really don't see animals overweight and looking and feeling like us humans do, because they're eating a proper diet, unlike us.
Yeah.
We're
No, that's
living
right.
in like the twilight zone, eating all sorts of stuff that makes us swell up, and most of these cancers are literally things that we've just developed from bad eating, bad nutrition.
Yeah. Well, they all are pretty much.
Yeah,
From everything that we ingest, and it can be either smoke or drugs or food. So it's unfortunately, I mean, a lot of these diseases are caused and have increased dramatically in the last 100 years. But if you look at just some of the statistics, all these different forms of cancer, even including skin cancer and things like that, because naturally on a proper human diet, you don't burn so much. You don't burn, and we recover much faster as well. Um, Things that we put on our skin, things that we ingest, our food, anything like
suntan
that, it's just
lotion.
made our bodies so sensitive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it just keeps on increasing, year on year. They keep telling you they're winning the war on cancer, but year on year, the percentages just go up and up and up and up.
They've been
So
fighting cancer since I was a child, raising. I can't even imagine how much money has been donated to the fight on cancer, just all over the place. I can't even imagine. Here's a question for you, David.
mhm.
Jennifer Bowerman, hopefully I said that right. Do you think that your incredible journey and newfound health has occurred because of all these SOC treatments. What does that mean? SOC treatments.
Standard of care,
Oh,
maybe.
standard of care treatments you received, or in spite of it. I wonder what your doctors say.
I definitely think in spite of it. Um, yeah, the standard of care nearly killed me, and like the chemotherapy and the dietary advice, the and not just not wasn't just that either. It was, a lot of it was you can't beat this. It's impossible to treat. Like you can treat this and just keep on treating and treating and treating until you die. Okay, but there is no chance of beating it. There is no, and this kind of stuff you have to get past as well because it makes you give up. Um, and then you just think whatever and just do whatever they say, and these experts and that they don't understand that there's an individual um, component to this as well. You know, one of my these, for example, the clinical trial that I went through, they gave me 8 rounds of this particular. It's called bendamustine. From the first treatment, it put me in hospital for a few days because they couldn't control my fevers, and I on the first night I had to be rushed back to hospital because I wasn't going to make it through the night. The next couple of treatments was the same, but they also filled both my arms with very thick, long blood clots from my shoulders right down to my wrist. Um, it hadn't actually done anything towards the cancer, but it had killed me. It had almost killed me a few times already, but it's very much a paint by numbers for them. Once you're in the program, okay, we'll just keep going because that's the same protocol we use for everyone, sort of thing. But people react differently to these treatments, and even though it wasn't working, they decided to keep going, sort of thing, until because they planned 8, so they were determined to do 8. You know, so these they don't. I don't. I just feel like that they don't really um, plan for the individual. You know?
They've just got like a pre-planned game plan, and that's what they're gonna, like a chart, and they're gonna follow the chart.
Yeah, and they're just going to stick to it. You know.
I That's why I think people should take a lot of action in their own hands. Folks, I'll put it down here again in the comments here. And if you guys could go visit that website here, let me pull it up here. I want to get help get 1,000,000 signatures on this. I've just posted the website link in the comments. You should be able to click right on the blue link, and it should take you to this page. And if you guys could sign the petition here, and it's really cool. They got this cancer action plan, and I think it's important for people to do exactly what it says. Follow these steps. Take your health in your own hands, and um, really take your life back. And don't take what a doctor says. Like if someone's watching this right now and they've had someone tell them, "Oh, you won't live long," or you've got a couple months to live. Do not listen to that person. They don't know who you are and what you're capable of and how much you can fight. And if you follow this plan here, and I'm not saying don't do your chemo and stuff, but if you add in the carnivore diet to your as part of your tools to help fight cancer, I think you're going to be a lot better off for this. And thanks to Jeff DeProsperous here for leading the way, and Carrie as well for leading the way on this. You guys should really watch this. Check out this website. I'm going to leave it up for a second here, but if you guys could go, we're trying to get 1,000,000 signatures, and let me know. Rick, I see you're in here. Susie Underwood, how you doing? Jennifer, yeah, that was standard of care. Rick, if you guys could let me know if you've signed the petition, that would be awesome. I put the link in there, and the link is also in the description of this video. That would be awesome to help support Jeff and Diane I have coming up and David here, it's the least we could do. Right, David?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't take much to sign a piece of paper, does it?
No, and you have to verify your email address or they'll take your signature off of the petition. So I just wanted to put that out there, you guys. So when you do sign it, make sure you verify your email address. It will ask you, and that would mean a lot to me and a lot of other people. I just think this is so important to focus on cancer. I know we're not just focusing on the problem right now. We're focusing on the solution to that problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What
I mean, we pretty much know the problem. I mean, the problem is, years of, well, decades of, corporate processed foods, things like that. And, that's going to take a lot to change. But what we can do is make a lifestyle change, and
absolutely.
revert back to and gain our health and our independence back. That's the biggest thing for me is getting people off medications and bringing them back to an independent state. So when you are dependent, if you think that just taking a pill every day is fine, you are dependent on someone else to keep you healthy, which
Until
is
you
not
just
doing
maybe
very
give
well.
up. Until you
That's
just
right.
give up, and then that's it.
That's right. Uh, um, being independent health wise is the biggest freedom you can give yourself. You um, they there. I mean, there's all sorts of BS going talking about how unhealthy the carnivore diet is for you, but fats are the only source of energy that our body needs, for one, but it's the only source of energy that cancer cannot feed on. You um, and what you essentially do is you starve the disease, you starve the tumors, for one, and if you are feeding your lymphatic system good, healthy animal fats and proteins, okay, your body will rebuild, and that's what I've been doing. It's absolutely remarkable. And it's not just a movement thing, like a muscle thing. It's your mental state as well will improve your positivity, this mental cloud. If you when you if you spend so much time under with so many hard drugs, medications, and chemotherapy, I was absolutely cooked. My brain was mush. Um, and it's the improvements that I have felt and noticed just from carnivore. Um, you're getting ketones to the brain, to the heart. It's an amazing feeling. You regaining recall ability, memory, um, concentration skills, and things like that. So these are things that you'll lose when you're on so much medication. You don't even know what room you're in half the time.
Mm.
So it's and you know a lot of mental diseases such as Alzheimer's and other neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's and things like that have shown significant improvement on low carb diets.
Schizophrenia, autism,
Yeah,
those are some other ones that people are doing very well on with the
yeah,
carnivore diet.
that's right.
And
So
we just need to get the word out here and get people to if we get people to 1 million signatures, folks, if you guys are watching, please go sign. This is important because there's a lot of people out there in hospital rooms all across this country that aren't watching this live stream that could benefit from the info that we're talking
well,
about right now.
yeah. I mean, look at the statistics. Here in Australia, the number one killer of children. And I'm talking about all numbers combined, and I'm talking about accidents and other illnesses and things like that. The number one killer, and by far, is cancer of children. Now that outnumbers everything else combined in Australia. Yeah,
I think even no matter where the kids are getting cancer, Australia, America, wherever, I
yeah,
think we could lower those numbers if we got a lot of
absolutely.
women who that are pregnant on the carnivore diet or low carb
Exactly.
diet, and that way
Exactly.
they're in ketosis while they're developing those babies, and there's nothing odd happening during the development.
That's right. And see, the thing is, I don't believe God makes mistakes. We are healthy when we are born. When I was a kid, you had maybe 3, 4 injections, when you're a baby. Now, before they reach 5, they have like more than 50 different injections. A lot of these things don't get tested. Okay. There's a lot of contributing factors to all this. But even in adult population, you know, like I said, year on year, the percentage of people actually dying from cancer just keeps climbing. On average, 3% per year. In America, you have 1,700 people a day dying from cancer. That's
Hmm.
an astronomical number. Each year in Australia, we have now more than 50,000 die from cancer. Um, and it's much worse in other countries like China. They have, I think Professor Seifried said it was something around 8,000 people a day. It's insane. So we should be able to get at least 1 million signatures from around the world to
Oh,
sign that.
absolutely. We're going to get more than 1 million signatures.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And we already got another one here. Deborah, let's go.
yeah. Good job.
We
Thank you,
got a
Deborah.
signature, folks. Thank you. Thank you. You're the best. I'm going to keep your name up there for a while because you're the best for signing. If anybody else signs the petition, let me know. I put the link in there. It should be a little blue link. You can click it. Should take you right there. When you sign the petition, help us out. Make sure you verify your email address and keep that up. This is very important stuff. I can't tell you how many people in my family have had cancer, and they say it's a genetic thing, but it doesn't have to be if the
Well,
parents are eating healthy and raising a healthy child, or if you have cancer already, maybe I wasn't raised carnivore, so maybe I could be a couple inches taller and a little bit more muscular and all that. But what we can do is if you're an adult like me and David, we can optimize our body the best we can that we have, and for future babies, we can start thinking about how to optimize babies' health by having healthy parents who are
that's
eating
right.
healthy. The mom's healthy, the dad's healthy. Monkey see, monkey do. If the baby sees the parent eat well, I give my son an option because we're teaching him about we don't give him a lot of bad options. I wouldn't say they're bad, but it's duck food. But he chooses the meat now instead of the duck food, the instead of the,
Yeah.
the the standard American diet. And I'm proud of him, and I feel like he's gonna eventually, when he shows less and less interest, we just stop buying whatever that food is. And but I'm gonna teach him as soon as he knows that, hey, like mommy and daddy, we were not living right. We weren't eating right. We had health problems, and this is why we eat like this, because we want you to be strong, to grow up, be big and healthy, to be 5 inches taller than your dad and 50 pounds more muscular.
Well,
We
we
can do
are
that. We
we
can
are
do that.
all underdeveloped as a species because of our the so-called dietary guidelines. Um, and it's more on yeah. I actually just forgot one of the statistics I was talking about was this is another thing about the carnivore diet. Our lymphatic system, how our lymphatic system works. Everything gets broken down into our stomach, into our digestive tract, and this gets absorbed into the lymphatic system and makes lymph fluid. Now, lymph fluid is made up of your fat soluble and water soluble vitamins, minerals, proteins, including collagen for your bones, but also white cells, which once get pushed around the body, develop into T cells. Okay. Um, Now, if you are feeding this system the wrong food, okay, you're not going to get those nutrients or those vitamins or those minerals and proteins to your body, and your body is just going to break down. Right? So now it also requires movement, obviously, to push all that around. But you get all sorts of different problems. There's intramuscular adipose tissue, for example. This is fat in the muscle tissue, which gives you like a wagyu-looking muscle tissue. Okay. Now this,
They do it to the cows. They can do it to
yeah,
us.
yeah, that's right. They do exactly the same to us, which lowers your insulin sensitivity. But it also causes inflammation and all sorts of other problems. And of course, inflammation causes many other problems. You get diabetes and all sorts of other things as well. So things like resistance training, training your muscles, okay, will help with increase insulin sensitivity and help reduce risk of disease such as diabetes and other things. But again, you have to give it the right fuel to build and recover. The body needs these nutrients, these proteins and fats that you just cannot mimic. There is no processed food that can mimic what nature gives us. We are already by design in perfect condition when we are born. We just have to keep giving it the right fuel. So this is the only way to develop properly. Our brains are underdeveloped, our bodies are underdeveloped. Everyone is. In the
It's the
last
best
100
way
years,
we can optimize what we do have at the moment.
Yeah, that's
Because I
right.
can't.
Yeah,
I wish I could go back and eat carnivore when I was younger, but
yeah,
I'm glad I found it when I did,
yeah, yeah.
and that's why
Yeah,
we're
I
doing
mean,
this video.
it's
Hopefully,
all.
somebody can
Yeah,
find this.
yeah. Hindsight is always 2020. And but the information wasn't out there either. Really, it was very difficult to find back then. But
Absolutely.
it is what it is, and we can optimize who we are now, and we can be, at least gain our health back and become independent, as I said before, which is the goal, which should be the goal of everyone.
Yeah, they want you to just keep paying money for treatments and medicine
Yeah.
and just manage it until you basically want to give up and die. But
Mm.
we want to fight back. I don't feel like cancer just needs to be managed unless you're managing to put it in a headlock until it's dead.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's right.
I just want to go
Well,
over this cancer action plan real quick. Step 1, empower yourself. Step 2, do your research. And by step 1, empower yourself, that just means that you have the power to make your own decisions
yeah,
in life.
yeah.
And you can also
It's
make a decision when someone says
choice.
you've got X amount of time to live. You can make a decision and say, no, you're wrong. I'm going to fight and I'm going to live as long as I want to live. So that empower
Well,
yourself. Step 2, do the research. Step 3, create your plan. Step 4, the critical role of nutrition in cancer care. You got to eat right, like David would say, put the proper fuel in. And step 5, there are more resources here for you guys to go check out. So please go check this out. Dr. Anthony Chafee just did a great interview with Carrie from Homestead How and Jeff DeProsper is here. Let me just play this for a second
I
here.
spoke to
Hi,
Dr.
I'm
Chafee
Jeff.
last night.
I'm fighting stage 4 cancer. When doctors told me I was inoperable, incurable, and only had months to live, my world shattered. They pushed conventional treatment as the only path until I found metabolic therapy and created my own regimen. Learning about Professor Seyfried's groundbreaking work changed everything. I learned you have to question everything. Imagine my hopelessness when after chemo, they handed out cookies, knowing full well cancer thrives on sugar. It was as if I was drowning and my trusted rescuers tossed me an anchor. Cancer doesn't have to mean hopelessness. Discovering metabolic therapy as an additional tool in my regimen revealed the power of a natural, proper human diet. It gave me strength. Chemo became more bearable. I've outlived my prognosis. My quality of life has drastically improved, and many others thriving on metabolic therapy also. Our goal is humanity. Our goal is to ensure every cancer patient is presented all the options and all the tools. This declaration is the first step. Too often, only the profitable treatments are offered. My story and the story of many others thriving on metabolic therapy are more than anecdotes. They are proof of what's possible. If you believe in a full spectrum of options for cancer treatment, not just the profitable ones, then stand with me. Sign the declaration, raise your voice, and demand that humanity returns to cancer care. Together, we can bring hope, choice, and life to everyone in this battle. The link to our declaration is below, along with our cancer action plan, including metabolic therapy resources, videos, regimens, and more. If you know anyone touched by cancer, please share this and help us reach 1 million signatures so our voices can be heard.
That is, I'm telling you, man, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to share that, you guys, and get Jeff's perspective in there. He's a great voice in this scene.
This is everyone's fight, really. This is cancer used to be quite a rare thing, like 100 years ago. It's very, very rare. Now, there were headlines just a couple of months back that they're predicting that 1 in 2 people will get cancer. And now that number keeps going up and up and up. Like in the 80s, it was like 1 in 10, the 90s, 1 in 8 or something. Now it's 1 in 2. They keep finding excuses for the foods that they keep putting out. These are big industries that will always find a scapegoat, and the scapegoat is usually cholesterol and red meat. But again, all of this has been completely debunked in so many ways and so many times. Just last night, I was speaking to Dr. Chafee, myself, on my channel, and we went through all that as well. To think that they can just explain away this increase and this sudden increase that 1 in 2 people will get cancer in their lifetime is just absolutely insane. Obviously, something has to change.
Absolutely, and I think our paradigm needs to be shifted. Our mindset needs to be changed about how we're eating, how we're raising kids to eat, our nutrition, and what the food is right now with all those ingredients. There's so many chemicals just in the shampoos and the toothpaste now. Like there's so many chemicals we are exposing ourselves to that we didn't expose ourselves to a couple hundred years ago. But now, even supposedly healthy products have all these sorts of chemicals in them, and it's just no wonder why the body is trying to fight all these battles. And if we could at least, you can't control what you're breathing outside to a certain extent, with pollution or whatever, but if we can at least control what we put in our hands to put in our mouths, that would be a dang good start in how we think about what we're putting in our mouths. That'd be a great start, in my opinion, to start healing humanity.
Become intentional about what you do and what you eat, what you consume. Okay. Another thing is supplements. People think they're doing the right thing. They think they're healthy. They take all these different regimes of supplements. But the fact is, most of these supplements just break down in your stomach, and you don't actually absorb any of it. Another thing is that, especially just off-the-shelf sort of supplements, they they don't require any sort of real quality of standard to sell these things. You know, like we're talking to Dr. Chafee about this last night. Like literally, like some iron pills will actually have iron shavings in them. Okay, that's it. Um, they basically do nothing for you, but because they have it like a small content of this compound in it, they can market it and sell it as this supplement. So these are things that even though you think you are eating health food, okay, and they label all so many things as health food. Like I said before, protein bars, for example, are full of so-called vegetable oils, which actually were just, back in the 100 years ago, they were machine oils, they were lubricants. So, and then they replaced lard, tallow, and things like that, natural fats with these machine oils, basically. Soy oil, which started in early 1900s, it was used for packaging and things like that. Sealants. In the 70s, they tried to do it. They did a study on this, and they were trying to make sure that the soy oil or the soy products didn't, because they were used in boxes and they actually carried food. They were trying to make sure that these it didn't flake off and get into the food supply because they were carcinogenics. Now, this soy oil is in absolutely everything, including if you go to like supermarket, like Costco, for example, beef jerky and pork jerky, all that jerky meat are all enhanced with soy protein. What the hell? Why do meat products need soy enhancing proteins? It's insane.
It is.
Um, and protein bars, nut bars, you think you're getting these nut bars, and they're basically just peanuts, which are legumes, and all sorts of sugar and other crap in them, including soy. Okay. You think you're being healthy by getting a low fat milk. The problem is when they process milk, they take out everything that's good and they put in a heap of sugar. If you have a look at the difference, read the labels, you have a look at the difference in sugars between full fat, full cream milk and low fat milk. The sugars are astronomical. On top of that, we should be using raw dairy products. Like in Australia, raw dairy products are illegal for some reason. But in Japan, for example, I was there just a couple of weeks ago. Raw dairy products are everywhere in supermarkets. Butter has 2 ingredients: raw milk and salt. That is it.
Mm-hmm.
And like 50% of the supermarket is meat.
Well, even margarine. It's funny, they don't like butter, but then they try to make a butter replacement. They don't want you to eat meat, but then they make these plant
Meat
patties that
replacement.
look like fake beef. Like, if it's not good for you, why are you trying to replicate it then?
Yeah, that's right.
Makes you think.
And
You know what I'm saying? Makes you really wonder.
it's disgusting. And these people that are doing this, they, a lot of them, they have no idea about nutrition, and they're trying to tell us how to be healthy. It's disgusting. Here in Australia, maybe 1% of your supermarket is meat at the moment. 1%.
And you said you talked to Dr. Chafee last night?
Yeah. So it was a really good discussion. Actually, I probably kept him a little bit too long. Actually, I completely lost track of time, and we just kept on talking. So it ended up being about an hour and 40 minutes. So
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna pull up your channel. You guys, make sure you go check out David's channel here. Let me pull up his YouTube channel here. And this is his video he's talking about, streamed 12 hours ago. Carnivore versus Cancer, right here with Dr. Anthony Chafee. You guys gave a great interview, man. I'm gonna watch that. I know it's gonna be good. And this is live tonight, right now, and then this will be Wednesday. This week, Wednesday, we're gonna have David, Diane, me, and Carrie from Homestead How, we're going to be talking carnivore and cancer again. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow I've got chatting with carnivores, but on Wednesday we're going to be getting together again. So go and subscribe to David's channel. I'm telling you, he's pumping out the good content, and he's a great inspiration out here. You really are, dude.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
What are your
I
thoughts after watching Jeff's call to action there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing we can do is just try and create awareness of the problem. I try not to give, I try to give people, I show people what I do, and try to give them the best advice I can without, I don't want to tell people what not to do, because it's really an individual thing as well. And like I said, things like, he's doing a great job. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we need, and every voice is one more to help get this movement done, because they really, if you have a look at over the years, there's so many foundations now. There's so many so-called charities that, and every celebrity's got to start their own damn charity because obviously they can't support one that's already going for some reason.
I feel like they all just focus on treatments rather than getting down to the root cause of the problem.
Yeah, exactly. They focus on the profit side of it. How can we make the chemotherapy, or they keep studying it as a genetic thing, but I am the only one in my family to have cancer. The first one in my family to have cancer. And I was eating, the health by dietary guidelines. I was eating the healthiest out of my whole family.
Mm.
So it's not a genetic thing. Okay. So like I said, every voice helps, but we have to go in a step in the right direction as well. Like I said, all these foundations and celebrity sort of charities and things like that usually do nothing. Honestly, the money just goes somewhere,
Yeah.
but it does nothing to the problem. It just keeps getting worse. After trillions and trillions of dollars over the decades and decades of these so-called charitable organizations that can't help each other for some reason. They all have to start their own. I sort of wonder where all that money's going. So
Absolutely, especially, I wouldn't wonder so much where the money was going if I saw less and less cancer every year. I would say, man, it's going where it should be, where it's going to good use. But we need to shift the paradigm, like you said, that it's a genetic thing when it's metabolic. It's what we're eating, it's what we're putting in our mouths, and it's, for the most part, it's avoidable. Now I know there's kids who are born with cancer, but some of that might be what the parents were eating. Yeah, and so if we can be healthy as parents and raise the kids up, I'm telling you, it's the most important thing. So I tell you,
the best thing we can do is to avoid it.
Yeah.
And that's what I hope people will do, is avoid it at all costs by eating healthy before you get sick. Okay, there's no benefit to waiting until you are sick to get healthy.
I feel like that's what most people are going to do. They're like, well, there's nothing wrong with me right now, so I'm just going to keep going. Well, yeah, nothing wrong with you right now. Like, it's like drunk driving. They're like, well, I haven't crashed yet. It's like, but what happens if you do, and then you're dead? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's pull the car over here while we still got time to think about this. And
that's a great analogy. It's exactly right. I'm not saying you can't heal, because I have, and I've shown that I've healed very well. But you're setting yourself back. I mean, why wait? You know, make the change now. If you have found the carnivore diet now, you are already. I mean, if you've grown up the same way we did on a standard sort of diet, then already, even though you think you feel good, you are not as healthy as you think you are. You know, so
Absolutely.
you know, prevention is always better than a cure, and you know, it's certainly a lot better than having to try and fight your way back, because that can be a very long and hard road to travel. I
Yeah,
can
the
tell
best
you from
defense
experience.
sometimes is a good offense, I feel. Like
That's right.
trying to avoid it in the first place.
Yeah.
Like if you see a bunch of glass and nails in the road and you don't want to have a flat tire, it's best to just avoid it instead of saying, "Well, I'll run through it and maybe I'll get lucky." Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Maybe your tires won't pop, but
Yeah.
more than likely it's just a matter of time, when you're traveling down a road like that. So it's best to just take a different road, even if it takes what looks like a little longer, a little bit more work.
Plus,
Sometimes a shortcut isn't always good. Sometimes, that food that's sitting there, right at the checkout aisle, they make all the convenient stuff, the
oh
shortcuts
yeah.
right there. And the
Mhm.
shortcuts aren't always good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always in your face, isn't it? But um, wouldn't you want to be the best you can be, the healthiest you can be, the strongest you can be?
Right.
You know, this is something everyone should want. Yeah. And I think most people do. They do want to be healthy. The problem is they just don't know how to be. And, it's very muddy water, because there's so much advertising out there, so much propaganda, so much um, total bollocks education that it's very difficult for a lot of people. So I think the fact that eating should be as easy as breathing. It is a natural thing for us to do. We shouldn't have to think about it so much. And 100 years ago, people did not. They didn't think about it. They just ate. They ate natural food that was cooked in natural oils, and the obesity problem was nothing. They used to go to a freak show to see someone who was obese. Now
Now you
that
can just go to Walmart.
yeah, that's right.
You can
Now
just go to your
even
mailbox and you probably
yeah,
see somebody on your way to the
that's right.
mailbox, man. Yeah,
Just have a look out the window. I guarantee you'll see someone on a mobility scooter come past. It's unbelievable. So
absolutely. That's why
yeah,
this video is so important. No Insanity Renee, it sounds like you signed, and take her advice. When you sign the petition, you have to verify your email. They remove your name. Thank you.
yeah,
This is so important. We're gonna wrap it up, but I hope that everybody's watching right now. If you have had someone who's been impacted or currently has cancer, whether they're sitting at home, sitting in a hospital room, please share this video with them and let them know that there are people out there like David who are defying the odds, so to speak, and taking their life back into their own hands, empowering themselves with knowledge and making decisions and just thriving, doing better than ever. Like this dude, he might have cancer, but he's going to be training me on how to get buff. So you guys, you get, there's so much hope out here, and I really hope you guys hit the like button and share this with somebody who, even if they don't have cancer, if somebody's already passed on, and it would share it with the family, and just so that way if someone else in the family gets cancer, you could say, okay, we know what to do now. There are options, and maybe you guys take this advice that David's given and get on the carnivore, so you don't even have to wait until the next person gets cancer. You just start getting proactive and just
yeah.
avoiding cancer street. If cancer street always gives you a flat and it's going to give you a bad day, just let's block that road off and not go down that road no more. Let's make a new detour. And
Another thing I want people to understand is too, just because even if you do get a bad diagnosis or your health is in poor condition now, you will be surprised just how resilient your body and your mind and your spirit is. Don't take it as okay, the expert said this is what it is. You can come back from, I mean, I have literally come back from death's door. Okay. And if you have a look at some of the stuff I'm doing now, check out the video. What is it? Yeah. Impossible is just motivation. Okay. Because that's all it is. When they tell you it can't be done, it's because they haven't seen it. It doesn't mean that it can't be done. All right.
Yeah, they told the Wright brothers they couldn't fly. They told Edison,
right.
you know, he wasn't going to make that light bulb.
That's right.
And we now know we've got light, and we've even put lights on airplanes now. They've even combined both those two crazy people.
That's right. That's right. So don't be, I mean, you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. It's not the end of the world. You have a bad day, you will get past it, and you can come back from, I guarantee you can do it.
Absolutely. You know, and that's coming from someone who has been through the battles, who's got the experience. He's not just read a couple books and he's like, well, I think I know what I'm talking about. David knows what he's talking about. That's why I wanted to bring him on here. Otherwise, it's just me out here tooting my horn about stuff. I'm sure it works, but it's nice to actually have someone who's literally a living testament of it, like David. So I appreciate you coming on here, David, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with you in 2 days on Wednesday. It's going to be you, me, Diane, who I've shared her cancer story, and Carrie from Homestead House. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you tune in again. We're going to be trying to get some more signatures. This is real important stuff. Let's just read this one quick. Jennifer Bowerman, I refuse to donate to cancer research unless it is a partnership with Thomas Seyfried. People, even those on standard care, are so defensive. I don't get it. Yeah, my coach would say you've got to be mindful of where you're donating your money, because some of these things they focus more on the problem rather than the cure or the fix or the solution to the problem. And we don't want to send our money to a place that's, going to just kind of keep feeding the problem. We want to find solution makers, problem solvers, and then give them our money, and we're going to do a lot better.
Yeah. Another part of the problem is these organizations, by law, these donations that you give, they only have to spend less than 3% of what they actually make on this research and on this particular cause. Some are even less. And so the rest of that money just goes into
someone's pocket.
Yeah, someone's pocket. So you have to be mindful. Yeah, you have to be mindful where the money is going,
Absolutely. And this last one for Renee. Hubby had cancer. I will be watching this one since I was late. Thank you, Renee. And thank you to everybody who tuned in and watched. Like I said, but Wednesday we'll be back with more characters. Because that's what Carrie is. He's definitely a character, that's for sure. We love him. But this is going to be something you're probably going to see a lot of David on the channel here, because we've got a lot of cancer awareness to drum up, and this is a very important subject, especially to me. I've had a lot of people in my family who've had cancer, and now I've got friends like David who are cancer survivors, man. They're just cancer thrivers. That's what I would call you, not survivor. Cancer thrivers, man. It'd be a new one. But David, thank you, man. Thank you for sharing your story again. I know you've done it, but I feel like you can't share your story enough, because somebody's going to be hearing this who's got cancer, and they're like, wow, like, God bless you for taking your time out of your day to encourage them and be that beacon of light they can look to in a dark time, David.
Well, I hope it can help, because I know how low you can get. I know how low people can get when it comes through, when you're going through treatments, when you get a diagnosis like that, when they tell you that this is it and there's nothing can be done. But I was given 2, maybe 3 months to live in 2012. Same again in 2014, and I'm still here.
I know I'm betting on you, man. I'm betting on you because it's a winning bet. Whatever the doctors say, man, I'm gonna go up. No, I'm betting on David here,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna win big because you're winning
Yeah.
big, and I like it. Thank you
Never
for
let anyone tell you your limitations.
absolutely, yeah. If you're sitting there right now and you might be feeling a little depressed about a cancer diagnosis, look to David and tune into his energy. And I'm sure, what if someone's watching this with cancer and they would like to talk to you? Could they just comment on one of your
Absolutely.
videos, or they
Yeah.
got an email they can reach you at, David?
Yeah, definitely. My email's in the description of my channel. Feel free if you want to email me, that's fine. But yeah, also make a comment on one of the videos if you wish. I'll always reply. So
That's awesome. You're a great guy, dude. And yes, thank you.
thanks,
Good to
Renee.
see you, DC, and thanks, JT. Thank you. Yeah, and thank you, man, for coming on here and walking me through this, and partnering with me on this. And we're gonna do a lot more of these, so I hope you're ready, David.
Anytime, mate. Anytime.
Anytime. All right, awesome, you guys. All right, thank you, you guys. My coach always says the first law of learning is repetition. So please replay this, and not only replay this, send this to somebody who's been impacted or touched by cancer, and help David inspire those people to change their life for the better and to empower themselves and to take their lives back, because that's very important. So thank you and goodbye, guys. I appreciate it.